think the first leg injury I had was at a dance camp. And yes, they have dance camp. They have camps for everything. And it was a dance camp up in Lake Tahoe. And it was a really amazing dance camp, but we were going across the floor, which for those of you that don't dance, going across the floor is doing things like turns and leaps, and you literally go across the floor. So you line up with your classmates on one side, and you do those exercises. So like you do like, for those who dance, and I can tell you what it was. Oh no, well, what I hurt myself on wasn't that fancy, but we would be like, and turn, and you would do like, Shanae, Shanae, PK down, PK down, step, prep, fouette, fouette. I'm only whipping those terms up for dancers who will find that interesting. I sound so lame right now. Anyways, going across the floor, and I basically did a leap in second across the floor, which second position is when your legs are spread wide open. It would be like the typical idea of what a leap is. And I came across the floor, and the way that you come across, your momentum obviously is still moving even when you stop. And when I landed, I was still going that way. And apparently I had uneven legs and we didn't know. And because of the uneven legs, I had built up a bone spur, which is like almost like an extra little nubby bone growing off the side of my hip that when I landed, it dug through the muscle that runs down the side of the leg called the fascia. And it tore through there. We didn't know this, but this happened when I was like 14. And it was bad. It hurt really bad. Now, you guys have to keep in mind, I have a reputation for being a drama queen with pain and stuff like that. I don't think I am, actually. You know, everyone in my life thinks I am, which maybe makes me crazy, but I think it comes down to I was really active as a kid, and I think because of my personality, which is that I don't like to sit still, I think I was active when I should have been still, and I think it made my body kind of weakened almost in some ways. And some of you might argue, because you'd be like, well, look at the Olympians, but people who are like hardcore athletes have a ton of injuries that aren't always necessarily covered. Oh, did my computer literally just freeze up? It is frozen now. Anyways, so I landed, it hurt, a ton of pain. That was when everything really changed. Like prior to that, I think I had water on my knees before. Oh, and I fractured my elbow when I was like 8, but that was doing gymnastics. Anyways, this was when like the big issues started happening. So I tore that hip. We didn't know it. The next 2 years, my mom and I spent a ton of time in and out of doctors. My dad too, but my dad was working a lot, so my mom and I were in and out of doctors a lot, trying to figure it out. And I had multiple MRIs, and no one could figure it out. And people wrote it off as me being a drama queen because they were like, nothing's wrong with you. Like, you're not hurt. And I'm like, guys, I'm not making this up. Like, when I would walk up and down the stairs, the side of my hip would snap every step. And if it wasn't snapping, it was hardcore aching and like really bad. So anyways, I was like, I'm not making this up. I swear I'm in a lot of pain. And when I was 16, my mom finally told a doctor, she was like, you know what? My daughter's not crazy. You're going to do surgery on her and have it be like an experimental surgery. Go in, you'll find something. And so we had like signed this whole waiver saying that like I don't know, wouldn't sue if they didn't find anything. I don't know, because it was experimental. They didn't know what they were going in for. They just cut me open and went in. And sure enough, when they went in, they found the little bone spur. I told you about the little nubby bone. And they saw that it was situated in between my muscles. So that was what was snagging. The bone was literally snagging on my muscle when I was walking, and certain positions aggravated it and made it even worse. So that was that. I have about a 7-inch scar on my hip, on my right hip. It's pretty gnarly, and it's still actually never fully recovered. Like, I rarely have like aches or pains there, like very rarely. So that's good, because the one thing they told me, they said that since they don't know how for sure that bone spur got there, it could come back again. So I'm always like, please don't hurt, because that could be a sign of it coming back, whatever. So yeah, anyways, that injury took a long time to recover from. Probably about, well, I was in a walker for like 6 months, and I don't think I was back to normal for like a little over a year or so. Yeah, like a year or so. After that, I started getting back into dancing, but I was so impatient and I spent all year hardcore rehabbing that rather than letting myself back in slowly, I jumped in too fast. And the problem when you're coming off an injury, especially a leg injury where you're overcompensating and using one leg more than the other, and your muscles are getting twerked from the imbalance of pretty much only functioning on one leg for a year, and then you jump back to using two legs, like 8 hours a day, you can hurt yourself. And that's what I did. I threw my body out of whack, and I ended up, well, okay, let me back up. Actually, during that time, I came out of the hip surgery, started dancing again, and I got sick. If you guys saw my vitamin routine video, you know that my sister and I were sick for a while. And I think, once again, it was because my body was weakened. So when I came out of that sickness, I did the same thing I had done going back into that. I jumped right back in from being sick and having hip injuries. And jumping back in is when I injured my knee, which was a blast. And yeah, I dislocated it a few times. I've dislocated it once at a dance studio. I dislocated it 2 times on a job, like working in a show. And I think that's it. I think it was 3 times. And yeah, I actually had a knee surgery, and that took a while to recover from too. And it was really, really hard because it was the one point in my life where I wasn't able to work. Even after my hip surgery, I was like, took a short break because I was like, literally couldn't move. But then I was back teaching dance from my couch, like, because I taught homeschoolers out of my house, and they would come to the house and be in the dance room and then come in the living room, and like, it was crazy. So I always worked. But after my knee surgery, it was the first time I didn't work because I was so, like, I wasn't employed at home anymore. I was married by this point. So I had knee surgery. That was intense. And it was good I had Dan because he was able to help me with the rehab stuff, but it was still intense. So after the knee surgery, I had thought I had fully healed. That was when I got the offer to move to Singapore with Universal Studios. So because I hadn't worked in so long and I missed it and the money seemed like it was going to be good, we gave everything up and moved to Singapore. I talk about this whole story, by the way, in how YouTube became my job, that video. But the long story short is we went there and my knee flared up again. So we had to come home. That is like when I started YouTube, which, like I said, I tell the whole story on another channel. But it's just so crazy to me. It's crazy to me to think that, like, dancing used to be my full-time job. And now it's not even at all. Like, I was fully an athlete, and now I only work out a couple times a week. That's a weird feeling to be in, to be like, dude, I used to be an athlete. I wasn't just like, oh, I used to work out every day. I used to be an athlete, and now I'm like, not. And I can't be, because every time I start to try to really push my body, it's too painful. I have really bad joints still, and they're weak, and I have to just do a moderate amount of exercise, enough to keep my body moving and healthy, which is a few times a week usually. Like, I can do like 4 days a week of like hard exercise, but then I have to also really let my body rest so that I don't flare up old injuries and get inflammation and all that stuff. So it's just really weird to me. And the reason why I brought it up today, actually, this is such a Debbie Downer ending, but it's because my shoulder's been flaring up. I think I have like bursitis or something, which is like a fancy way of saying that the bursa sac in my shoulder like is flared up or something. I don't know. And that's what got me thinking about it. And I was really, really depressed earlier. But then I was like, I shouldn't be depressed because I'm still doing something else that I love. And I was like, but I should make a video and tell people like about my dance history and past and all that. I love how I'm like, I'm depressed, I'll make a video. But yeah, let me know if you guys like these kind of like super casual pajamas in my bed kind of videos, and I could talk about all kinds of different things. And if you have any more questions for dance videos, I can do them. I plan on like doing dance videos actually, but it's just I have to be really feeling good, and I have to do them really quick, like in like very few takes, because my joints are so bad. But yeah, let me know any questions you have in the comments down below, and let me know what you think about these kind of videos. This was really hecka long, so yeah, I guess I will talk to you later. Bye.